Okay, so we are continuing with the last part. So as you must have seen that in the last video, I just explained about how the dead bodies of organisms are broken down inside the soil. So this was the soil, right? This was the soil, and you could see. So I was just explaining that initially what happens whenever whenever a leaf falls onto the surface of the soil, you will see it on the soil first of all. Okay, like it's a dead leaf, you can see that there is a yellow part of it, because I say that as it gets dried it becomes yellow. Okay, so it's like got dried and it's got dead, and when it falls in the soil, like slowly it gets into the soil. So like as the weather changes, it might rain also. Okay, it might rain. Okay, these are the clouds, and it might rain, or like many things, like the environment changes. There are certain other insects which come into the soil, which appear in the soil. Okay, these are like insects. Okay, and other like microorganisms also, they appear in the soil, and as the leaf reaches, like with time the leaf reaches the ground. Okay, the soil gets shifted. The top layer, this is the top layer of the soil, it gets shifted, and the leaf slowly, like this will happen very slowly, very gradually means slowly. Okay, so all this will happen very slowly, and you'll see that as a leaf reaches here, like over, for example, after a few months, you will see that the leaf reaches here. Now it will get broken down. Okay, and all the nutrients will be released, which will be like these are digestive enzymes, for example, released by all these organisms, and with time the leaf will get broken down and all the nutrients will get absorbed by these uh, organisms inside the soil. Okay, similarly the body of a human being also, when it's buried, like this is a pit and here the human body has been buried. So with time, like after a year or so, when again if that part of the soil is dug out, or okay, if it's dug out, then what happens, you'll see that only the skeleton will remain, and the all the organs and the entire skin, muscles, everything would have disappeared. Okay, so this is due to the digestion which these organisms inside the soil do. Okay, so these could be bacteria, these could be insects as well. Okay, so now I'm going to give an interesting name to all these organisms collectively. So collectively, if I say something collectively, means सबको मिलाकर. Okay, collectively we call all of these organisms collectively as saprotrophs. Now I'm going to break this word. Okay, sapro means dead matter. Okay, so from the name itself you come to know that it's dead matter. Sapro means dead matter, and troughs, as I already told you, the ones which feed for nutrition, basically nourishment or nutrition. Yes, so troughs are certain organisms which feed on, basically which have to gain nutrition from somewhere or the other. They are definitely not autotrophic, so they have to feed on something or the other to gain nutrition and nourishment. Okay, means तंदुरुस्ती के लिए. Okay, as I told you in the very first video. So what does saprotroph mean? Saprotroph refers to these organisms, to organisms like there are certain bacteria. Okay, one more thing. Okay, first of all, let me tell you bacteria, and there are certain other organisms inside the soil. Okay, I'll be coming to the definition of saprotrophs. I guess part of it you must have already understood by what I have explained you now. Collectively, all those organisms which are present in the soil, which feed on the dead matter. All the organisms present in the, not just in the soil, but like wherever they are present. Okay, they're not always present in the soil. Okay, so all those organisms which feed on dead matter to gain nutrition. Okay, they will never feed on parasite, they will never feed on living matter. They will feed on dead matter, something which is dead, okay, like the dead bodies. Okay, so all these are organisms are called saprotrophs. Okay, and the nutrition, their mode of nutrition, okay, is called saprotrophic. So trophic nutrition. Saprotrophic nutrition means this nutrition involves like the organism. Okay, one more thing here, the host, basically the host on which they are feeding, okay, or the dead body is not getting affected in any way just because it's dead. Okay, so it's not getting affected, only the host, it's gaining benefit. Okay, it's gaining nutrition, sorry, not the host, only the organism, the saprotroph is gaining the nutrition. So for the host it's neither beneficial nor it's harmful. Okay, so it's not getting affected in any way. Okay, so when I say define saprotrophic nutrition, you will say that this nutrition, this mode of nutrition, okay, refers to this is a type of, actually this is also a type of heterotrophic nutrition, because obviously all the saprotrophs can, like, first of all they lack chlorophyll. Okay, many of you, I just noticed that when I gave you the worksheet, okay, the last worksheet, I used this word lack and many of you did not understand its meaning. I also wrote in the bracket also along with it, lack means does not have something. किसी कोई चीज़ में कोई चीज़ नहीं है, कोई चीज़ में कमी है. Suppose if I say this thing lacks, you lack this thing, means you don't have it. Okay, you lack it or you don't have it. If you don't have something, if you lack a pencil, yeah, I lack a pencil, I don't have a pencil. So lack is a simple word for does not have, or I do not have anything, I lack it, means I do not have that. Okay, so what I meant to say was excuse me, all the saprotrophs are heterotrophs. Okay, why is it so? Because they lack chlorophyll. So obviously they cannot photosynthesize, or they cannot prepare food on their own, they cannot gain nutrition on their own, so they are heterotrophic. Okay, just like parasites. So we can say that parasites and saprotrophs both are types of heterotrophs. Okay, they are types of all like both of these modes of nutrition fall under the category, or they fall under heterotroph. There are types of heterotrophs, both parasitic and saprotrophic, because neither of them, means none of them, okay, none of them have the chlorophyll, means none of them can photosynthesize. So obviously, and also see, mainly when we say that an organism is like they cannot they cannot prepare food for themselves, is because they lack chlorophyll or they do not have chlorophyll. Okay, just like plants. So that is why they had to get food from somewhere, and they have to feed on other organisms. Other means hetero, so other organisms, just like these dead matter in this case, in the case of saprotrophs, and living body like humans, or like I told you, a living plant which the cuscuta feeds on, okay, or the mosquitoes feed on humans. So we are living, right? So parasites, the major difference between parasitic nutrition and saprotrophic nutrition. Parasitic nutrition and saprotrophic. Just see this carefully, because I'll be asking this in the worksheet. Okay, so what's the major difference? Okay, so first of all, now in case of, I'm just writing P here and S here, okay, to make it simple. Okay, so this is parasitic and this is saprotrophic. So first of all, they feed on living matter, living organisms. What do they feed on? They feed on living organisms. This will be your first point of difference, living organism. Second, this will be They feed on dead organisms. Okay, dead organisms. Second one is that similarity is that both are heterotrophs. Okay, but the difference if I talk is then parasites always feed on living organisms and saprotrophs always feed on dead organisms. Okay, so you can also give examples of parasites like mosquito and cuscuta. Mosquito, then cuscuta also. Cuscuta has to be underlined and C will be capital. Okay, because it's a scientific name. Okay, saprotrophs I'll be giving the example in a while. Okay, so major differences that parasites, I'll be giving more points on this in a while. First of all, just understand the main difference that parasites feed on living matter and saprotrophs feed on dead organisms. Okay, for their nutrition. Okay, so now I was about to tell you what first of all, okay, what are saprotrophs? As I told you, these organisms feed on dead organisms for their nutrition. Okay, now in case of saprotrophs, what are the different types of saprotrophs that we can see? Okay, like as I told you, all the saprotrophs are not just are not just bacteria and insects. They could also be certain plants. As I told you, in case of parasites, cuscuta is a plant parasite. Similarly, there are certain plants which act as saprotrophs. Okay, trophs could be any organisms. Okay, it could be plants, it could be insects, it could be bacteria. Okay, so there are certain plants which act as saprotrophs and they are called saprophytes. I told this to you in the initial videos also. Phytes word are always associated, phyta or phyte is always associated with plant. Wherever you come across this word, just understand that it's associated with the plant or it's linked with the plant. Okay, so those plants which feed on dead and decayed matter, dead and decayed means already it's like decayed, it's already broken down, it's rotten. Very simple example, when you see that you prepare the manure, okay, when you decompose the garbage, you learned about this in class 6th, right? That when you put the garbage into the soil, you prepare the manure, what is actually happening? All these organisms, the saprotrophs are rotting. It gets rotten, it gets, जिसको हम बोलते हैं, it gets सड़ने लग जाता है, right? It starts smelling. Okay, it starts emitting a foul smell or a very bad smell, foul smell. Okay, because like when something begins to rot means sarna. Okay, rot, R-O-T. Okay, it is due to these organisms as they break down, as I told you in the previous video also, as they break down the bodies of these organisms, whether it's a leaf or these could be vegetable peels also, basically all the biodegradable material or organisms. Obviously plants are also organisms, so fruits and vegetables are also, they are the part or the organs of those organisms. Like plants, as I told you, that fruits, leaves, everything, vegetables are a part or the organ of the plants, right? So when the plants when we pluck the when like or harvested, okay, harvest basically when we when the fruits are ready, okay, we pluck them and we sell them in the market. Okay, so after the plantation is ready, the rice is ready, the fruits are ready, they are taken off and they are then sold. Okay, so once they're taken off from the plant, okay, they are like plucked basically from the plant, then when we eat them up, okay, then we throw the vegetable peels in the garbage, and after some time you see that they start to rot. Okay, they start to rot, they start smelling bad. And when especially if you add them into the soil, after some time you will see that they will degrade because they are biodegradable. They can be broken down by the organisms present in the soil. Living organisms, living, bio means living, okay, by certain organisms that are saprotrophs only. they are saprotrophs. Okay, all these organisms, these bacteria, these insects, and all of those, these are saprotrophs, which release certain digestive enzymes to break down vegetable peels and all the biodegradable materials. Okay, whichever you throw either, or they fall on their own. Okay, the leaf falls from the plant on its own when it gets dry, and it falls from the plant, or when you throw the garbage, the biodegradable garbage, into the soil. Okay, the same thing happens in both the cases. That is, these saprotrophs feed on those biodegradable matter. Okay, to feed on them, to break them down and gain nutrition, and as a result of that it starts to rot. वो सड़ना शुरू हो जाता है. Okay, very simple thing I want to tell you. Now, why does something start to rot? कुछ चीज़ सड़नी अपने आप कैसे शुरू हो जाएगी? ठीक है. As I told you that it is due to the action of, or you can say action or reaction. Action बोल लो. Okay, so action of these digestive enzymes. When our digestive enzymes start breaking down any vegetable peel or anything, okay, or leaf, or any organ, okay, then as a result of that enzyme which is released onto that organism to break it down, that organism will start to break down. It will start to rot is a result of breaking down of that organism, or the dead body of that organism. Okay, rot is a result of breakdown of the dead body of that organism. I hope you understood what I mean. Okay, so it's a result of breakdown of the dead body of that organism. So as a result of which all the biodegradable material, it starts to rot. Even if you don't add them into the soil, even if you don't add the dead matter into the soil, after some time you'll see even in the kitchen also you'll start smelling. Okay, now how does that happen? I'll be explaining that in the upcoming video. Okay.